She knows he is not easy. She has seen how quickly he can walk away from people. She has noticed how calm and cold he stays, even in situations that should scare others. That calm should be a warning. It should push her to leave. And yet, her mind keeps going back to him. When he enters the room, something changes inside her. Her heartbeat shifts, her awareness sharpens. Something wakes up, fast, electric, impossible to ignore. This is not confusion, this is not emotional damage. This is something older, something deeply wired. An ancient program running exactly as it was designed to. Once you understand this, you will never see attraction the same way again. Comment power if you are tired of chasing. Now let's begin with the uncomfortable truth. The truth about attraction. For most of human history, attraction had nothing to do with love, happiness, or romance. It was about survival. Thousands of years ago, life was dangerous. There were wars, wild animals, hunger, constant threats. Choosing the wrong partner did not just mean heartbreak, it could mean death. Because of this, the human brain evolved with one priority: survive first, feel later. Modern society teaches that kindness, emotional safety, and equality are the most important parts of attraction. These ideas sound right. Morally, they make sense. But evolution was never built for comfort. It was built for survival. Deep inside the brain, far below logic, values, and social rules, a woman's mind asks a very different question. Not, is he gentle? Not, is he kind to everyone? The question is much older and much simpler. If danger appears, can this man handle it? This question is not logical, it is instinctive, automatic. It runs even when a woman believes she wants something different. This is why attraction can feel confusing. A woman may respect a kind man, she may trust him, she may admire him deeply, and still feel little desire. At the same time, she may feel pulled toward a man who is distant, cold, or intimidating, even when she knows he is risky. Attraction is not a reward for good behavior. It is not a moral choice, it is not logical. Attraction is a threat assessment system built by evolution. It quietly measures strength. Confidence. Composure under pressure. It asks one question again and again. Who can handle danger when it comes? Long before romance, before dating, before love stories, this was what mattered most. This system existed long before modern ideas. It decided who was worth choosing and who was not. Understanding this truth is uncomfortable, but it explains something important. It explains why desire often ignores what people say they want and follows something much older instead. This leads us to what is called the protection paradox. A man's ability to cause harm, when directed at the outside world, is often interpreted as his ability to protect. This is the protection paradox. In dangerous times, survival depended on one simple reality. When trouble appeared, someone had to act. A man who showed no edge, no firmness, no willingness to confront threats sent a quiet signal. He might freeze when pressure arrives. He might hesitate when action is needed. On the other hand, a man who remains calm, grounded, and emotionally controlled under stress sends a very different message. Without speaking, he communicates something ancient and powerful. If something goes wrong, I will handle it. This does not mean that cruelty itself is attractive. What truly matters is where that hardness is directed. A man who is rough, aggressive, or careless toward everyone feels unsafe. There is no clarity in him, only chaos. But a man who is firm with the world and controlled with the woman he chooses creates a very specific emotional response. Her mind recognizes what psychologists call selective safety. She does not feel threatened, she feels protected. She does not feel ignored, she feels chosen. She senses that she is separate from the chaos he shows to others. This contrast matters more than kindness by itself. When a man treats everyone the same, his behavior carries little emotional weight. There is no distinction, no signal. But when he clearly draws a line between how he handles the world and how he treats her, that difference becomes powerful. Her attraction does not come from fear. It comes from relief. The relief of knowing that the same strength that could face danger is not turned toward her. Instead, it surrounds her. This is why intensity grows in these situations. Not because the man is cruel, but because he shows control. He demonstrates that he can be hard when needed and restrained when it truly matters. Kindness without strength feels hollow. Strength without control feels dangerous. But strength with direction creates something difficult to explain and even harder to ignore. That contrast, not softness, not politeness, is what creates deep emotional pull. Why selectivity is more powerful than niceness. Being nice to everyone feels like the right thing to do. It feels polite, safe, and socially acceptable. Many men believe that if they are kind, supportive, and respectful to everyone, attraction will naturally follow. But attraction does not work that way. When a man gives warmth, attention, and approval to everyone, his presence loses weight. Nothing feels earned. Nothing feels special. Attention loses its value when it is given to everyone. If everyone receives the same treatment, no one feels special. Kindness becomes common, predictable, emotionally flat. Selective warmth works in a different way. When a man is calm, reserved, and careful about who gets close to him, people notice. When he does not rush to impress, when he does not chase approval, when he does not open himself to everyone, his attention starts to matter. It feels rare. It feels intentional. This is not manipulation. This is not playing games. This is how value is naturally communicated. In every area of life, scarcity creates meaning. What is limited feels important. What is always available feels replaceable. Attention works the same way. A woman's attraction does not grow because a man is harsh or unkind. It grows because his focus is earned, not freely given. She senses that not everyone has access to him. She knows his time and energy are not handed out without thought. This creates a powerful feeling, being chosen. Standards are the key. A man who knows what he accepts and what he refuses sends a clear signal. He is not desperate for connection. He chooses carefully. Niceness without boundaries feels weak. Niceness with standards feels strong. When a man says no without guilt, walks away without drama, and protects his time without apology, his presence carries weight. His approval feels real because it costs him something to give it. This is why selective warmth creates attraction. It makes attention meaningful. It turns simple kindness into something valuable instead of something expected. Attraction grows when a woman feels that your interest is deliberate, not automatic. When she feels your warmth is offered because she earned a place, not because you give the same energy to everyone who appears. That difference changes everything. Dominance is measured by other men. Attraction does not happen in isolation. A woman does not judge a man only by how he treats her. Without realizing it, she also watches how other men respond to him. This happens automatically, below conscious thought. Her mind quietly asks questions like, do other men respect him? Do they challenge him or step back? Do they grow quieter when he speaks? Does the energy of the room shift when he arrives? These signals matter more than words. A man does not need to announce dominance for it to be felt. In fact, the men who try to prove it usually lack it. True dominance is assumed, not performed. When a man enters a space, when others adjust their behavior around him, lower their voices, seek his approval, or hesitate before challenging him, something deep is triggered. This reaction is not logical, it is ancient. For most of human history, a woman's safety depended on her partner's position among other men. A man at the bottom of the hierarchy faced constant threats. A man near the top faced fewer challenges and had more control over what happened. Because of this, the human brain evolved to closely watch male hierarchy. A man who effortlessly reshapes the social space sends a powerful signal. I belong here. I am not easily removed. He does not need to dominate conversations. He does not need to insult others. He does not need to compete loudly. His calm presence is enough. This is why leadership is attractive even outside romance. The man who naturally takes responsibility, who makes decisions, and who holds his ground under pressure stands out. Other men feel it first. Women sense it second. Dominance is not aggression, it is stability under challenge. A man who stays centered when tested, who does not rush to explain himself, and who does not seek permission to exist at the table, communicates strength without force. Sensitivity to hierarchy is very old. The brain understands it instantly. A man who is still climbing feels risky. A man who has already arrived feels safer. Attraction grows not because he demands status, but because others already treat him as if he has it. That reaction from other men speaks louder than anything he could ever say. When hardness becomes conditional, this is where attraction becomes more complex and more revealing. Not all hardness pushes people away. In certain situations, it actually increases attraction. But this only happens under one strict condition. The hardness must work in her favor. Attraction grows when a man's tough decisions protect her interests. For example, when he removes obstacles that block their shared goals, when he refuses to tolerate disrespect from others, when he draws clear boundaries and enforces them without hesitation. In these moments, his firmness feels reassuring, not threatening. What matters is not the behavior itself, but who benefits from it. When a man is cold or strict with the world, but fair, steady, and controlled with her, her mind registers safety. She feels like she is on the inside while the rest of the world stays outside. This creates a powerful emotional effect. She feels chosen, she feels protected, she feels separate from the chaos. This is why softness given to everyone feels ordinary, but softness given selectively feels special. When a man refuses to please everyone, the care he offers carries real meaning. However, there is a line that must never be crossed. The moment a man's hardness turns toward her, through fear, intimidation, or emotional pressure, attraction collapses instantly. The brain does not debate this. It switches categories. The protector becomes a threat. That boundary is absolute. Power only attracts when it feels controlled. Strength only attracts when it is directed outward. Unfocused aggression feels unsafe. Cruelty without limits feels dangerous. This is why self-control matters more than force. A man who can be firm but chooses restraint communicates confidence. A man who cannot control his reactions communicates weakness. Attraction is not about enjoying cruelty. It is about trusting strength. When a woman feels that a man's toughness exists to protect what matters, not to dominate what is close, desire feels natural, calm, and deeply rooted. Her attraction deepens when that trust remains intact. When that trust breaks, the connection ends. This is the rule that separates dangerous power from attractive power. Emotional intensity and attraction desire does not grow from sameness. It grows from change. When emotions are always steady and predictable, the mind relaxes. Comfort increases, but excitement slowly disappears. There are no emotional highs, no tension, no anticipation. The connection feels safe, but flat. Predictable affection creates calm. Unpredictable affection creates desire. This happens because the brain is designed to respond to variation. Dopamine, the chemical linked to wanting and craving, does not rise when rewards are guaranteed. It rises when rewards are uncertain. When warmth is not always available, each moment of closeness feels valuable. Each sign of attention feels earned. The nervous system becomes alert. The bond grows stronger. This is why emotional contrast is so powerful. A man who is sometimes distant and sometimes deeply present creates movement. The distance creates longing. The closeness feels intense. The shift between the two creates a cycle that pulls attention back again and again. This is not about being cruel or confusing on purpose. It is about not offering constant emotional access. A man who is always available, always reassuring, and always emotionally open creates no tension. Everything is known, nothing is at risk. Desire fades slowly because there is nothing left to anticipate. On the other hand, a man who has his own world, his own focus, and his own priorities naturally creates uncertainty. His attention cannot be assumed. It cannot be taken for granted. When he chooses to give it, it feels meaningful. This is why emotional flatness pushes attraction away and emotional contrast pulls it closer. Stability is what people say they want. It feels logical and safe. But intensity is what the nervous system responds to. Intensity keeps emotions engaged. This does not mean chaos is attractive. Constant drama exhausts the mind. Attraction comes from controlled intensity, not emotional disorder. A man who balances presence with absence, warmth with focus, and connection with independence creates a rhythm that feels alive. The bond grows not because he overwhelms with affection, but because his affection arrives with impact. Desire lives in the space between certainty and mystery. That space is where attention stays locked. What this does not mean. At this point, it is important to be very clear. This is not an argument for abuse. This is not permission to mistreat people. This is not a call to become aggressive, threatening, or cruel. Many people misunderstand power and think it means losing control. In reality, the opposite is true. Uncontrolled aggression is not strength. It is weakness without discipline. A man who explodes emotionally, lashes out, or uses fear to get his way is not powerful. He is unstable, and instability does not create attraction. It creates danger. Cruelty without limits is failure. True strength is the ability to control yourself under pressure. It is the ability to feel anger and still choose your actions. It is restraint, not rage, that signals real power. It is the ability to say no without anger, to walk away without drama, and to hold your ground without intimidation. Attraction is not about enjoying harm. It is about trusting capability. A woman is not drawn to a man because he can hurt. She is drawn because he could, but chooses not to. That difference matters. A man with no edge is not safe. A man with edge but no control is also not safe. What attracts is balance. This is why discipline matters more than force. A man who stays calm during conflict, who does not panic when challenged, and who does not need to prove himself, communicates quiet power. This understanding removes confusion. It explains why some men try to act tough and fail. They copy surface behavior without inner control. The result feels fake, forced, unsafe. Real strength is not loud. Real authority does not threaten. Real power does not need to explain itself. This part matters deeply, because without it, everything else becomes dangerous. The ideas discussed earlier only work when guided by self-control and responsibility. Without control, power destroys. With control, power attracts. That is the difference. Alternative signals of power. You do not need to be ruthless to show strength. You do not need to hurt people to communicate power. There are quieter signals that speak just as loudly, often more clearly. Power is shown through behavior, not aggression. One of the strongest signals is the ability to say no without guilt. A man who can refuse requests calmly, without over-explaining or apologizing, shows that he values his time and energy. This instantly changes how people treat him. Another signal is comfort with being disliked. A man who changes himself to be accepted gives his power away. A man who stays steady even when others disagree shows inner strength. Approval becomes optional, not necessary. Calm authority under pressure is another key signal. When problems arise, some people panic or become emotional. A man who stays focused, speaks clearly, and acts decisively stands out. Others begin to rely on him, without him asking. Standards are also critical. Many men talk about boundaries, but fail to enforce them. A man who follows through, who walks away from disrespect, ends unproductive situations, and protects his values communicates seriousness. His words carry weight because they are backed by action. Leadership that does not ask permission is one of the strongest signals of all. This does not mean ignoring others. It means taking responsibility without waiting for approval. Making decisions, setting direction, owning outcomes. A man who can be hard but chooses restraint is far more compelling than a man who is soft because he has no choice. The difference is felt immediately. These signals activate the same instincts that raw aggression once did, without creating fear or damage. They communicate capability, confidence, and self-trust. Power is not about domination, it is about self-direction. When a man governs himself well, others naturally respond. Attraction grows not from force, but from certainty. This is strength expressed through control, erotic polarity, and leadership. Equality creates comfort. Polarity creates desire. This idea is often misunderstood, so it must be explained clearly. Polarity does not mean one person is better than the other. It does not mean control, force, or disrespect. It means difference in roles and energy. Desire grows from contrast, not sameness. Attraction becomes strongest when one person leads and the other feels free to relax into following. It is not about giving orders or commands, it is about certainty. A man who knows where he is going, who makes decisions, and who takes responsibility for results creates emotional safety. When direction is clear, tension fades. There is no need to question every step or analyze every moment. This allows a woman to let go. Letting go is not weakness, it is relief. It is the feeling of not needing to manage everything, decide everything, or control the situation. Desire grows in that space. Leadership is not loud, it is calm and steady. A man who hesitates, constantly checks for approval, or asks permission for every move breaks polarity. The dynamic becomes flat. The connection feels equal, fair, and emotionally safe, but the spark fades. On the other hand, a man who decides with confidence, listens without losing direction, and moves forward without apology creates momentum. That momentum is attractive. This does not mean ignoring her thoughts or needs. It means holding the final direction while still respecting her presence. This is why certainty is so powerful. Certainty reduces anxiety, certainty creates trust, and trust allows desire to flow. This is not domination, it is orientation. When leadership is clear, surrender feels safe, not threatening. Desire grows not from force, but from knowing someone else is holding the weight. Polarity is about direction and response. One leads, one receives, and the space between them becomes charged. That charge is where attraction lives. Women are not drawn to cruelty itself. They are drawn to what cruelty appears to signal. These signals are simple and ancient: protection, capability, status, selectivity, emotional intensity. Cruelty is only one way these signals appeared in history. It is not the best way, it is not the only way, but it is a very visible way, which is why it causes confusion. What truly attracts is effectiveness, a man who can handle pressure, a man who can make decisions, a man who can protect what matters, a man who knows his value and acts like it. These qualities can exist without becoming harsh, abusive, or dangerous. But they cannot be replaced by niceness alone. Good intentions are not enough. Strong morals are not enough. Evolution did not reward what sounded fair, it rewarded what worked. Once this is understood, everything shifts. The frustration fades. The confusion makes sense. You stop arguing with reality and start working with it. This does not mean rejecting kindness. It means placing kindness on top of strength, not using it as a substitute for strength. Kindness without power feels empty. Power without control feels dangerous. But power with restraint feels magnetic. The real question is not whether this truth feels comfortable or uncomfortable. The real question is this: what kind of power will you choose to embody? Unconscious power that leaks out as anger, insecurity, and reaction, or disciplined power that is calm, intentional, and directed? Because people are always watching how you move through the world. Not closely, not logically, but instinctively. They notice how you handle pressure, how you protect your time, how you respond to resistance, how you lead when no one tells you to. They may never explain their choice, they may never put it into words, they will simply feel it. And that feeling will guide their decisions long before logic ever appears. This is the final reframe. Attraction is not about being good or bad, it is about being capable. When capability is present, everything else finds its place. When it is missing, nothing else can replace it. That is the truth beneath the surface.